All right. Good afternoon. It is about 12:47 p.m. Thursday, November 14th. Um, I guess I could say today has been a very emotionally trying day, and that's in addition to them waking me up, forced waking me up from sleep at somewhere around like 12:15 midnight, and I couldn't go back to sleep because my body, my brain, and the tissues in my brain was too busy absorbing the energy that they have been beamforming from the various electromagnetic devices in the home, including people that's in the home. And you know, it's funny. They like the V2K keeps saying, Chris, you need to stop talking about things you don't know. Honestly, if there's like thousands of people online and offline all talking about the same thing that I'm talking about, and not only are they just talking about it, or am I just talking about it, I'm actually showing research papers, or at least when I post something, it's connected to a source that was published, and it actually explains a lot about the technology that they're using. Even though the context is going to be a little bit different, because they're going to be, like most of the research papers you're going to find, is only going to talk about like the medical aspect, right? But you got to think about it. Any tool or device that's created in this world can be used for both malevolence and benevolence. So think about it. If they have devices and portable devices or wireless means to so-called, let's say, help someone with Alzheimer's by stimulating specific nerves in the brain so that the nerves or the neurons can, I guess, heal, and they can, fire, they can function normally, right? Now, that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to hear. You're not going to hear the weaponized stuff unless you're looking at military academy, videos and courses and stuff like that. You're not going to see that stuff in most published magazines and stuff like that. You're only going to see the medical side of it, but you're not going to see the whole, like, oh, how do you couple the human brain with an electromagnetic field generated from an air conditioner. You're not going to find stuff like that, and it's funny because they're messing with the bike. This bike has been mostly fine throughout the whole day, except for, like, okay, so when I say I had a trying day, so first, it's already bad enough that my normal train wasn't running, so I had to walk several blocks just to get to another train to take to work. Then when I went to start my first route of the day, by the time I got to my first stop, I had a flat on my trailer. So now I'm getting kind of upset, and I'm like, damn, I didn't get hardly any sleep, because they want to wake me up and keep me up and beam me because they know I gotta work in the morning. So what's a better torture thing, or I guess mechanism to do than to, well, keep your target awake so that they can't necessarily go to sleep and have energy to fight you off during the day when they're trying to work. So I didn't really go to sleep. Like, when they woke me up at like 10, what was it, 12:20 or 12:25, something like that, I could not go back to sleep for nothing. And then the most insane part is my alarm goes off at 2:30. I told myself, all right, I took a shower too. I went and got in the shower sometime around like 1:15. Then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get in the bed, see if I could close eyes. I'm pretty sure I was just laying in the bed for a good while. And then when I finally started to feel sleepy, that's when my alarm goes off. I was so tight. So this whole morning, I couldn't even think about speaking to my lady as we're like getting ready for work, because I'm so mad that I couldn't really get any sleep. And she's telling me that she had a lot of dream manipulations, and the V2K has been letting me know that, oh, there's a lot of people using your girl. Oh, there's a lot of people jumping on her body. Hold on. All right, so dang, I don't remember where I was last at. But yeah, I was just so upset and just, I don't know, just frustrated because I couldn't get no sleep. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't even like there were loud neighbors or anything. It was signals, man. I'm telling you, it was signals because I hear the signals all day, every day anyway, but they're not loud. They're like a very low decibel type. I don't even know, but it's like, if you remember in the last few videos where I've been doing like the recording of the sounds, the frequencies, the audio frequencies that's been picked up in like my apartment or whatnot, all those different sound levels that you were seeing, especially the ones that were above 30 decibels. Because you know what's interesting, I could be wrong, but I think anything that's pretty much above like 15 decibels or something like that, maybe you could hear. I don't know, but they're like, I don't know, extremely low frequencies, you can't hear it no matter how high the decibel. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm trying to figure all this out like anybody else. I just know that when I was woken up at 12:20 or whatever it was a.m., it was mostly, I know I felt like this jolt. Like it was like a jolt inside my brain, like a firework went off or something. And it's crazy because when I think about it, you ever sometimes close your eyes and you try to close them as tight as you can, but then you still see like light, like almost like flashes of light going over your eyes, like somebody was showing a flashlight into your eye or something like that. Yeah, I think that's the technology too. Because I mean, hell, all these different infrared lights being reflected and bouncing off of everything and going in every other direction, and you got some going into your eyes and some going into your nose and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, what was I gonna say? But yeah, I'm trying to like, manage myself right now, but yeah, I guess what some people would like to know is like, how do you keep working? I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell you this. There are definitely days I wish I did not get up. Right? There are definitely days where I have actually thought to myself like, yo, God, why am I still alive? Because I'm like, yo, it's mind-blowing, right? It's mind-blowing when you think about what's happening to TIs. It's mind-blowing when you think about what's happening to TIs. And then you look around at other people that these things aren't happening to, and it seems like their life is, all hunky-dory and whatnot. And then it's like you want to try to tell people about it, but you gotta have this shit down. You can't go around telling people, oh, they're directing signals into my brain. No, you gotta first. It always seems like you gotta know your audience. You gotta kind of fill out the person first before you start telling them about your targeting experience. But I mean, for the most part, I'm managing though. It's a lot of emotional stuff. But I don't know, I'm maintaining. But yeah, I got a flat on my trailer. That made me upset. Then today, hold on. All right, good morning everyone. It is 7:55 a.m. Saturday, November 16th. Just another day working out here in this, I think somewhere in the mid 50s right now. Low to mid 50s. Not too bad. As far as sleep goes last night, I know I think I fell asleep somewhere around like maybe 8 something. Then all of a sudden, my girlfriend and I both woke up after 11:30, and I don't know. Like I think what did I do? I know I remembered having to go and turn off. Like I unplugged like the TV and the Wi-Fi and stuff, but you know what? I forgot to turn the fuse off for the outlets. So, and my girl, she got up in the middle of the night to try to make some type of shielding, because there's like a good amount of energy that's being directed at us while we're sleeping, but it's coming through the walls. Most of the time I've narrowed it down without having to accuse anyone. It's probably dirty electricity from the electrical wires that's in the wall, or it could be someone that could have like a, hold on. Alright, sorry, it's like 9:05 now. I just went and got my last route. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Let me see. Okay. Hold on. All right. So, yeah, last night's sleep was, even though it was interfered with, I did go back to sleep not shortly after waking up. But I had two, and I'm gonna try to see if I can remember the realizations I had, because V2K, the V2K or artificial telepathy handlers, they have been increasing more and more energy to be absorbed in my body. It's like, all right, I have gotten it down to a point where, okay, all nanotechnology or biosensors are basically conductive, right? And there's like this insurmountable number of these devices that are flowing in the air, the water, all of our food, and it's all basically reading and extracting, decoding, and transmitting just about every type of information it can gather from, whether it's plants, animals, people, cars, the the wall integrity of buildings, streets. Like these sensors, they're basically detecting just about almost every little detail of everything around, right? And and so I have gotten to the point where I realized, I was like, yo, we truly gotta put like a strong focus on alkalining the body, and then also doing heavy metal detoxes. These conductive devices that's inside of our bodies, embedding themselves into our tissues, crossing our blood-brain barriers, they're all conducting and absorbing the electrical energy of radio frequencies and electromagnetic waves from just about anything that has an electromagnetic field. What they're doing is basically increasing the power consumption. They're increasing the power consumption of the biosensors inside of my body, and then as the biosensors consume more power, they're basically using that power to overstimulate the tissues or the energy centers, chakras of my body. And what I learned is that we have to break down the parts of the devices that we can through natural means. The idea of trying to use electronics to try to see if we can fight against electronics, it's not going to be all that helpful for us, because if we try to use an electronic device, they're basically just going to use the field produced by that electronic device and, weaponize they're going to basically beamform from that device. So even though we would think that, like, for the first few minutes or seconds or so, like the first few seconds to a couple of minutes, if they haven't seen you do it before, it's going to be like, oh, they're doing something different. Look at this device they got. Oh, they think they're going to generate a repelling field? Look at this person. Then all they're going to do is adjust, right? They're going to notice, they're going to acknowledge the field that's being produced, the electromagnetic field being produced from that device, and then they're going to form a beam from that device and then resonate that beam with your body. I think if you want a more technical term, it's called inductive coupling. Inductive coupling, I think it's inductive coupling, or yeah, I think it's inductive. INDUCTIVE. Inductive coupling. And that's basically the process of really resonating two different fields together. Something like that. It's like my memory recall. I can't recall so many things because they're blocking my neural firing. But anyway, to yesterday. Oh yeah, I gotta tell y'all how somebody tried me this morning. Actually, no, I had two gaslighters this morning. But anyway, so yesterday, I meant to do a video yesterday, but I don't think I got around to sending it. But so hold on, I'm trying to. It's like I'm trying to keep my train of thought, but they have so much energy flooding into my prefrontal cortex, it's hard for me to form a sentence, really. Like, it's like I'm trying to it's like information that's stored in the brain. I'm trying to recall it, but it feels like there's a block. And all I feel, it's like, sorry, I got handheld, right? So it's like, I'm trying to recall, right? But all I feel is pressure here, and pressure here. And it's all inflowing pressure. It's all energy that's coming into the brain. And I'm trying to see if I can, instead of it storing up, because that's basically what causes the brain fog and everything, is when they're flooding the brain and the tissues with so much energy, that it kind of like it. I don't know if it actually just incapacitate the neurons or something, but yeah, it's like I can feel myself trying to think, but the electrical activity that I'm producing through my neurons feel like they're trying to push through like a beaver dam inside the I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. It's like I can literally feel myself trying to think and push through something. And it's like I already know how they can do these things, because this is basically kind of what transcranial magnetic stimulation is. But when you look at some of the medical practices of what they, or applications they use transcranial magnetic stimulation for, you see them use it for, sometimes it's to like help people regain motor functions. They stimulate parts of the brain with pulses of energy to see if they can get the neurons firing again, or they can probably help someone learn how to speak again, or there's all kinds of reasons why they would use transcranial magnetic stimulation. So it's like, but in this sense, they're using it to actually incapacitate a person or disable a person's functioning. So back to yesterday's realizations I had. So right now, they're like, one of their main psyop statements that they make is, Chris, you waking up mad people and you don't even know how to protect nobody. This is what I've been hearing most of the day. Like, Chris is waking up mad people and don't know how to do nothing for nobody. And you got to be mindful that when they're saying he can't do nothing, that means they have already put in place things to prevent me from doing as much as I can, or as much actually from doing more than what I know I can. It's like, I know I can do more, but it's almost like I have to pace myself in a way because of the remote neuromodulations and the overstimulation from the directed energy that's being injected into my body. So they're always like, Chris, you can't save nobody. I don't know why he's waking up so many people and he can't do nothing for nobody. He's setting people up. He's trying to mess with people's livelihoods. And here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm thinking, right? Satanic ritual abuse. If you know anything about satanic ritual abuse, you realize that they abuse people in order. They abuse people in order to basically pledge like an allegiance, or pledge their what's the word? Not alliance, but their loyalty to Satan, really. And of course, a lot of people don't want to there's a lot of people that still want to ignore the esoteric aspect of all of this stuff. You can't. Here's what a lot of people need to understand about our dimension. Our dimension, nothing happens in our dimension unless it happens in the esoteric or the etheric dimensions first. You gotta remember, before you see all of this matter, all of this visible matter that you see, everything is happening on a very energetic and like quantum level. So there are things happening in this world that we can't see. There are things happening in this world that we can't hear. And all those things that's occurring, they all have an influence directly right into our physical. Now, they're like, Chris, you can't protect nobody. Everybody know he's a bitch ass nigga. Everybody know he's soft. And it's like, mind you, it's like I grew up around these people. So just by the way they speak to me, I know they live right near me. I know they live around me. I know they live in the city. I could hear his New York City accent. I could tell he's from the Bronx because he's always be like, that's a Brooklyn ass nigga. So I'm thinking to myself, they're like, oh, everybody waiting to see you go to prison, or everybody, you don't realize you snitching on everybody. You snitching on people you don't even know. And I'm thinking to myself, shit. So, I just got chills and goosebumps and everything. I had a moment after they kept saying, Chris, you can't save nobody. And I've been practicing doing this sometimes. And you know what? It's gonna sound weird. It's gonna sound weird when I tell you this, but it actually gives me relief when I do it. Every time they would like repeat something often, they'll be like, Chris, you can't do nothing against secret society. You can't do nothing. I think about it for a second. I said, you know what? You're right. I can't do nothing. You're absolutely right. I can't do nothing against secret society. You're absolutely right. I can't do nothing. But I gotta do something. and I'm telling you right now, the moment I flipped that, I felt like a whole, like it was almost like the polarities of my like every energy field in my body just changed. And because it was like in my mind, most of the stuff, like if you have V2K, most of it is basically lingual programming. It's all like something to just basically hypnotize you or brainwash you, right? Especially if they're repeating it over and over and over. So they keep saying, oh, Chris, you can't do nothing to get secret society. So I was like, you're right. I can't do nothing. Meaning, like, I flipped it to say to myself, you're right. I can't just do nothing. I gotta do something. So I told myself, well, taking into consideration all that, you know, our fellow TIs in the past, those who, you know, probably lost their cool and they just couldn't take it no more, I keep them in the front of my mind because that's exactly what they're trying to do. I keep all those people in the front of my mind, you know, and I remember, and I always try to remember what those people were or who they were before they, you know, were targeted. You know, and I love using like Myron May as an example, because Myron May, if you look into his background, if you look into the background of Myron May was like, that man was basically like you could basically say he was like he was a good guy. He was a good guy, probably even corny. Probably even kind of corny too. But he didn't, and on top of that, he worked in law, I think, was he a prosecutor or he worked with prosecutors? So with that being said, you already know why they went after someone like Myron May. Because he was someone that was working against corruption, against bunch of wickedness, he was working against everything that we're seeing that's running rampant right now. And I understand a lot of people are fearful of their life because, one, they don't understand this technology, but it's already in them. They feel like they don't have they can't do anything. They just like, well, I might as well just go ahead and do what they're telling me. I could probably get something good out of this, blah, blah, blah. Man, look, I'm telling you, I told myself I can't just do nothing. I got to do something, right? So what I said, I'm not going to engage in anything physical. I'm not going to do anything that the people who are gaslighting and speaking to me through this technology, or whether they're in passing by, I'm not going to do what they're used to doing. Because you got to remember, a lot of these people, they're in the positions that they're in because throughout their own life, they failed to block the frequencies that was manipulating them. You got to remember that. We're dealing with people who already lost. They already lost, and they were losing bad. They already lost to the system. So now that they already lost and got themselves in a situation, now whoever's controlling the system is going to come out of nowhere and say, hey, we have an opportunity that could help you redeem yourself into society or something. And that's when you come up with GameStop, right? You know, because you got to remember, this technology been around for decades. The intentions and the intentions and the concepts or whatever of the technology has been around for centuries. Basically, we're dealing with people who were already victimized by the system, but then now they get put into situations where they feel like they have no other choice. And that's usually always the fastest way to get somebody to, for lack of better words, do more worse when they could already have done bad on their own, right? So, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought again. Damn, I lost my train of thought again. Damn, it's so much pressure in my head. I can't even. Damn, I can't even like speak right now. That's probably how irritated they all getting now, because now I can't even. It's almost as if someone took like a laser gun or something, or I don't know, some type of ray thing, and like, I don't know, there's an LED light up there. Get rid of LED light bulbs in your home, because LEDs are nothing but just weapons all over the place where they can beam form from and then resonate all this like electrical charge from that field up there being produced by the light, form a beam from that, and they can resonate it with your W band, your biofield, and then inject more electrical charge into your body. But yeah, so let me finish this part. So they were like, "Oh, Chris, you can't protect nobody. You can't protect nobody." And I thought to myself, like I did the last statements they made, and I said, you know what? You're right. I can't protect nobody. I can only protect, or rather it was save. They said you can't save anybody, Chris. And I said, you're right. I can only save who God allows me to save. Because There's not one person on this earth who can just go around and just save anybody and everybody. No, that's impossible. I don't care how much of a defense you have in your home, how much of a black belt or martial artist or a professional fighter or a professional shooter. I don't care how much of a offense or defense you think you have. If God determines that today is supposed to be the day that that person dies, it don't matter if you are right next to them or 100 miles away from them, that person's gonna die. Accept that. You can only accept the things that you have control over. Well, actually, no. You can only control the things that you have control over. You can't control if someone lives or dies. There are doctors every day that basically who are trained to the T to save lives, right? But just because they did everything right, it doesn't mean that person's going to survive. You can do everything right in your life. You can do everything right to try to see if you can protect yourself, save someone, whatever. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. So they're like, Chris, you can't save nobody. And I'm like, you're right. I can only save who God allows me to save. And here's why I say that. Because every single person on this earth, hell, even every animal, has a path. Everyone has their own distinct path that they must go on, right? Now, whether you live or die, you can't control that. It's all about what you still probably need to do, or who you still need to influence, or who you still need to interact with somewhere down into the future. If you haven't finished that yet, then you're not going nowhere. You know? If there's some things that you still need to learn from this life, you're not going nowhere. You may experience pain, trauma, depressions, all these things. You may still experience those things, but there's no guarantee on if you're going to die or not. So all this fear mongering that they do, and all this trying to say like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, don't worry. Lean not on your own understanding. I'm not putting it all on myself to try to save anyone. The importance of what I'm doing is to basically make people aware. The more you're aware of what's happening in your life, especially once you start to learn about subtle energy, fluctuations or influences in life, you have to learn how to detect or be able to sense subtle energy shifts, because that's what they're doing. Everything is subtle. It only becomes more obvious or abrasive or whatever when they're basically physically trying to gaslight you. But everything else with this technology, it's subtle. That's why a lot of times when I am getting hit or attacked, the first thing I do is I place my hands on my body where I feel the attack where the attack is going, and then I extend my hand following the heat of the energy wave, and I track where it's coming from. Now, I've also learned too that they can recycle energy. They can recycle energy they can recycle the energy they can recycle energy through your body. So energy is coming in like this, right? We have, I'm gonna call it like, I don't know, it's like a main signal hub or connection or something. It's like right here. Every single person on earth has it. It's always right hemisphere, and it kind of goes at like a 45-degree angle, right? Up here, there's like some type of junction where there's like a main signal, and then it kind of like, it's like there's like a main resonance junction up here. Energy going out, energy coming in, right? Energy going out, energy coming in. But it also spreads, like it can expand out throughout your energy field. And your energy field is like round, like a bubble, and it expands out. So like if they wanted to hit my heart, right? They can do a simple, they can do like a simple, I guess, drawing or whatever, where they can steer the beam and just go like this. Or they can do whatever crazy elaborate, design that they want. If they want to, instead of it coming straight to, they can go through make it go behind, and then try to loop it around and then come around to the heart, because they usually do start to do it, make it more complicated like that, because they already know at this point, I know that all I got to do most of the time is energy comes out of your palm, right? Energy is emitted from your palm. When it comes to your hand, a lot of energy is emitted from your palm, right? What I do, like right now, they got a wave resonating with my heart. I pinch, right? I find it and I pinch it. As I'm pulling away, I literally feel the pulsing, like I literally could feel like the troughs, or the vibration of the wave going right into my thumb and my index finger. And I could feel it, like as I'm moving my hand up and down, I could feel it pulling at the wave as it's resonating with my heart, and I could move it up and down. But not only is it just coming from the foam, I can also feel a connection going up towards that main link. So there's like all different types of things happening, right? But not only is it just coming in through this way, I also learned that, remember, toroidal field, your body operates like a toroidal field. So energy flows down and then it comes out, right? Energy flows in, down, and then it comes out like that. What I learned that they're doing with me, your root chakra is basically down here, like right where like your sex organs is and things of that sort, right? What they're doing, they're taking the energy as it's coming out and they're looping it up. They're looping it, and then it's coming back into the head. So it's they're like recycling the energy, and then it's overstimulating my brain tissue. Hold on. All right, so yeah, so that's how I started flipping that whole like, Chris, you can't save anyone. And I'm like, man, think about this though. Honestly, we can't take the same routes that like you would normally do when somebody is like messing with you. Like if someone's physically messing with you, there's all kinds of things you could do. You could handle it yourself. You can collect evidence about the person and go to law enforcement if you want to do that. But with this technology, it's not the same. It's not the same. Because this whole thing is to protect all the people that's doing all the satanic ritual abuse against you, to get you to produce loose energy. It's built to protect them. And then when you decide that you want to finally act out or retaliate against all the subliminal stuff and all the gaslighting and the people breaking in your homes and messing with your mail and knowing that they low-key let you know that they the ones that did it, all of a sudden you're the one that ends up, getting in trouble. So we have to take a very, very strategic and patient approach to this. Let me see what is going on here. I could think of, yeah. All right. There's a whole lot going on up here. Anyway, but we can't. It's funny because they stay calling me a bitch ass nigga, right? And I know they probably went through my memories and saw that, oh, he don't fight nobody. He ain't never did nothing to nobody. He ain't never stabbed nobody. This motherfucker's a pussy. He don't do shit. I just always remind myself that I made it this far in my life because maybe I'm a pussy ass nigga. I don't have a record because maybe I'm a pussy ass nigga. I've never been like, I don't know. I've never been told by a woman that, you know, like I'm harassing her, or, you know, I'm not like I ever like sexually abused or anything like that. Because I don't know, maybe because I'm a pussy ass nigga, right? So I'm thinking all these people that's all all these people that's calling me something that they've basically went their whole lives striving not to be, a lot of them got themselves into situations because they're not pussy ass niggas. And then when they get caught for doing the things that they do, they always want sympathy for some reason, or they feel like they should get out because they feel like, you know, I don't know, they feel like they felt like they were being disrespected, so they had to do something, or because this person, man, I have watched, and I'm telling you, I grew up in New York City. I have watched so many people that I know or knew who went through different phases of life. I've watched nerds become hard people, and I've watched hard people become, you know, not to call them nerds, but I've seen them kind of change. Right. So, and it's funny because like I told you, I grew up in New York City, and I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in Bed-Stuy, so it's like, and I grew up where, like, my mom let me run around in the streets and whatnot. I didn't get myself into anything, but I did run around in the streets for a bit. So it's like, I know it happens out there. I might not know all of what happens, but I know things happen. And I grew up knowing people already who were about that life, right? And you know, the best part about it is growing up with some of these people, they kind of always like looked out, like certain people out here have certain, like, I would say, like codes or morals or something. I don't know, it's like a, I don't know, but I grew up around certain people where they was like, nah, little CJ, you cool, you don't need to be over here. Or my mom, she used to know people who would, you know, probably keep an eye out. If they see me doing something, they would walk up on me and be like, hey boy, you know I know your mama. So I grew up always having this thing in my mind, don't do anything that could embarrass your mother. Because everybody knew my mother, and my mother was always helping people, you know, even to this day, 75 years old, she's still helping people and don't have a whole lot of material things or money to give to people, but she's still helping people, right? And she's being targeted, and she's still helping people while she's being targeted too. And matter of fact, the people she helps are usually people who are in like the same like financial situations as those who are gaslighting and targeting us. And they're trying to do their best to try to destroy her, and or anyone who basically has a, I guess you could say a code, or a code, like a code of conduct or whatever, right? And they're doing their best to destroy people like them. They don't care if you're someone who gives or whatever. They just want to know, are you gonna let us do whatever we want or not? It's like, are you gonna let us be whoever we want to be, or are you gonna actually talk about us? And it's like, that's literally what they do. They're like, straight up, if you mention anything bad about what we're doing, we're going to do stuff to you. And I think about how many times throughout my life I done seen on protests, the stop the violence, oh, we got to clean up the streets, do this, do that, do this, do that. And man, I can't put my finger on it, because it always seems like we always want to have peace, but we're not actually willing. Well, you know what, I'll say this: people who try to do good are probably in more of a dangerous situation than people who don't do good, because it always seems like the people who do good don't have no protection, right? It always seems like every time someone's trying to do good, even when good cops are trying to do something good, when good cops are trying to report bad cops, you know what happens? The good cops get targeted. That's the wild part. It's like when good cops want to do something good, they can't, because the moment they try to do something that's too good, now a whole secret network of dirty cops is all going to start working to destroy the good cop's life. It's wild. It's wild. Hold on. All right, so and they the handlers, they keep saying, Chris, you sabotaging your own life. You're trying to sabotage other people's life. You're setting people up. And only thing that comes to my mind is, you're trying to stop me from finding a way that can liberate everyone. By you trying to interfere with what I'm doing that can possibly free you from the technological enslavement that's upon not just yourself, but your family, you want to help torment and destroy me, right? It is through my due diligence and my ability to endure that, and my studiousness to really want to not focus on the negative aspects of all the targeting and then find myself just stuck not doing anything. I am trying to educate myself on things that's supposed to be so-called kept hidden and secret and things of that sort, but come to find out, most of it's not even secret at all. It's just when you're used to being fed information all the time, you just don't see certain information because you're used to information being given to you, right? Let me see. I gotta go to not that one. Sorry. This one. It's like, I don't know, and this is one of those things where if you know something about history, history tends to repeat itself, right? So every time when I think about this whole gang stalker system, it first thing I get, it's definitely some type of indentured servitude or some type of coerced enslavement. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of negative shit that basically deals with somebody who's probably a lot more malevolent than you are, basically taking their resources and using it to find whatever type of vulnerabilities you may have, and then tell you, if you don't do certain things, we're going to use these things against you or your loved ones. And then next thing you know, you're basically committing atrocities that you would have never done on your own accord. And they're like, Chris, you don't realize you're setting people up. You're hurting a lot of people. You're putting a lot of other people in danger. And it's like, no. It's like, get this through your head. You're gonna die anyway. You're all gonna die anyway. Everyone is gonna die anyway. My thing is, what would you rather actually have died for? I mean, there's people dying all around the world for various reasons, right? There's people who die just from eating food. There's people who die because, I don't know, they didn't look into the street before they walked into it. There's people who die just walking into their shower or their bathtub. People are dying for so many different reasons, right? But how many people do you see on a regular, or at least in the news, you hear that someone actually died because they were trying to basically do something socially gratifying. You know, someone who basically exposed a child trafficking ring, or someone who basically saw someone's house getting broken into, but they had a weapon. So what they did was they basically went over and they were trying to prevent the person next door from getting raped or whatever, because they didn't know they had intruders. But they killed the intruders, but they died also. You know, so it's like there's so many reasons people are dying. Then you got these other reasons where you got some people dying because, well, they ran up on the wrong person sitting in their car. They didn't realize that person had a gun on them. Next thing you know, boom, they shot dead because they thought this was going to be easy carjack. It's like there's so many reasons people are dying, but how many times do you ever see people dying because they were actually trying to save someone else's life? There's more stories of people dying because they were trying to get over on someone than you ever really see of someone actually dying because they were trying to save someone else's life. And it's like, when you think about all these civil rights activists and people who have come before us, they laid their lives on the line knowing the type of evil that they were coming against, because they saw a future where a whole bunch of other people after them don't have to go through it. So you're telling me, because I have learned how they're manipulating people using electromagnetic waves and fields all around our own energy field, you're telling me, because I found out about that, I have to die because because it's supposed to be secret. I'm like, do you realize how slavery works? It's like, do you realize how slavery works? Right? So, 264, one of these I don't need here, this one and that one. So, I don't know. Right now they're trying to paint this perception about me that I don't care about people. I don't know how to do anything properly, blah, blah, blah. And I just always remind myself, if all these people who supposedly is doing so much more than I am, if they were getting the same doses of electromagnetic radiation as I was, I would like to see how well they're doing things. Because from what I gather, anyone who's getting hit with these frequencies or hit with this radiation, they're not the same person as they were before they were getting hit with it. And I'm talking about not just civilians. I'm talking about like former agents, like former military personnel. These are some of the most strongest and best people that walks this earth. Hold on, but I don't know. There was a second realization I had yesterday, but I can't remember what it was. My girl was always telling me, "Won't you write things down? Stop trying to remember so much. Just write it down." I just be like, "Well, I don't want to." I'm just being lazy by not writing things down. But it's like, I'd rather try to see if I can find whatever ways that I can to try to push those neurons to fire again. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just being hard-headed, but it's like, I would rather try to find a way to just you know, get my memory going again without having to write things down. I don't know. Hold on. So, what else? I don't know. It's just I'm trying to make sure I get my perspective heard, or I don't know. I don't. I'm just trying to make sure that when I die, that they can't just say whatever the hell that they want, and then all of a sudden, like, that's just what everyone's going to believe. I gotta make sure my story is heard through my mouth, and I would hope that maybe some people are probably taking screen records or taking notes of things that they've heard me say, because it is only going to be what I have left behind, and that's going to be my experiences. There's a lot of people in this world right now that think that I'm in the wrong for what I'm doing. But you know what? To God be the glory, and all glory being to God, right? All right, take care. So, and it's funny because it sounds like people said now he airing his laundry. I don't know. You could probably rewind the clip and then see if you could hear it in the background. But yeah. So it's like now they're like, oh, now he's putting his whole life story on the internet. Don't nobody care about your life. Don't nobody care about you trying to be a good Samaritan. Da da da. Y'all want cigars, son? Oh no, sorry. But I don't know. Like, it's funny because they've already told me several times, you got a lot of crazy people watching you. Now, when they say that, I already know they're referring to the fact that people's minds are connected and uploaded to a cloud. So when they say, oh, you got people watching you, that means they have linked the information or the data transmitting from my body. They've linked other people to me so then they could be able to see my life, right? And then what they're doing is they're using like some type of lingual programming where they're influencing people to want to do things to me. And you know what's the sad part is? The moment they're all told not to say nothing when they get the V2K or when they hear like someone else's voice being transmitted into their auditory cortex, they're told not to say anything. And I thought about this, and I think I said this in my last video. I'm like, well, if you end up dealing with complications because of the biosensors inside your body, then it's like, oh my goodness, I cannot stand when these streets are like this or cobblestone roads. I really cannot. But it's like, I don't know. The only reason this is really agitating me even more is because of all the emotional manipulation they've been doing in my heart center. I don't know. They let me know that like a bunch of people at the job probably watch my live stream, not this YouTube live stream, but the cloud live stream. They like, oh, people are watching the movies. Everybody think you crazy or blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, wait till this bubble bursts. And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm about to start doing a lot more searches on ritual abuse and how they use tactics like these gang stalking and whatnot to try to see if they can sacrifice someone else or get someone to sacrifice themselves so that they can reap the rewards, you know, their Ahrimanic rewards, you know, because, you know, Ahriman is the spirit of materialism, and then Lucifer is the spirit of desire, right? Lucifer controls desires. Ahriman, he makes people feel like they the shit because they got objects in their lives. But I think that's all I got for now. I remembered as much as I could, but take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.